for Naughty by Nature.
The 1992-93 Middle Township basketball season opened with tremendously high expectations. The Philadelphia Inquirer and the Courier-Post labeled Middle Township the team to beat in both the Cape Atlantic League National Division and in South Jersey Group 2. The players and coaches, however, had even higher expectations of themselves. After coming so close to a state title the previous year, every member of the Middle Township program was dedicated to returning to the state final and leaving with a state championship. The road began in the preseason, as Middle Township played one of the most challenging scrimmage schedules in the state. The Panthers went on the road to scrimmage Cumberland, Lakewood, Trenton Central, Camden, Burlington Township, and Willingboro. The coaching staff hoped that all of this traveling in December would help the team prepare for a lot of traveling in March. The highlight of the preseason was a scrimmage against nationally ranked TFC defending champion Shawnee Renegades. The scrimmage was played before over 700 people in Middle Township's gym and featured 4 of the 5 players on the All-South Jersey first team. The regular season tipped off with one of Middle Township's toughest CAL opponents, the St. Augustine Hermits at the Cave. The game marked the Cape Atlantic League debut of Middle Township's Lamar Greer. Midway through the first half, Greer left his greeting card, this coast-to-coast dunk. The game was played more like a college game than a high school game. Greer repeatedly fed Stefano Anderson for dunks, and the Hermits repeatedly answered with three-point bombs. This three-pointer by Brendan Fagan put St. Augustine ahead 61-60. The Hermits stretched the lead to 65-60 with only 1 minute and 25 seconds remaining. Stefano Anderson cut the lead to 1 with his jump shot, and Lamar Greer recaptured the lead for Middle Township on the free throw line. But Matt Miles sent the game to overtime with 2 free throws with 1 second remaining. In overtime, Lamar Greer's steal and thunderous dunk gave Middle Township a 4-point lead it would never relinquish. the high of a big win at St. Augustine, Middle Township endured its worst performance of the season in the Bishop Eustace Christmas Tournament against Upper Darby. The Panthers sleepwalked to a 59-51 loss. The loss was a negative for the Panthers, but the 1992-93 Middle Township season would be all about turning negatives into positives.
Well, they had a lot of negatives like that they can look on, and they made the positives out of negatives. They had a boy in the school, a friend of ours, there was a guy on the Parkway, and they made that a positive. They had that Upper Darby loss. They turned that negative into a positive. We had a boy dismissed the other day against Perth Amboy Tech, and the boys talked about that. I think they were able to make positives out of negatives, and so often you see that happen.
From the disappointment of Upper Darby, the Panthers began to build a school record 22-game winning streak by defeating Willingboro. Middle Township returned to Cape Atlantic League play with explosive outings against Sacred Heart and St. Joe's. The Panthers then hosted the number 6 ranked team in South Jersey and eventual Group 1 South Jersey champion, Pleasantville Greyhounds. The game was a marquee matchup in the CAL that did not live up to expectations. Middle Township dominated the Greyhounds on both ends of the floor, scoring over 20 points in each quarter and holding Pleasantville below 20 points in each quarter. Lamar Greer and Stefano Anderson combined for 59 points, and the Panthers went over the century mark for the second time in 3 games. 4 nights later, the Panthers were engaged in a defensive battle with the always tough Wildwood Catholic Crusaders. Just as they had proved against Pleasantville that no CAL team was their equal on offense, they proved that no CAL team was their equal on defense, holding the Crusaders to only 44 points and holding 3 of Wildwood Catholic's toughest players to a combined 4 points. The 102-65 blowout of Pleasantville, along with the 58-44 win over Wildwood Catholic, vaulted Middle Township to a number 5 ranking in South Jersey. The Panthers would never be ranked lower the rest of the 1993 season. With the win streak at 6 games, Middle Township took its high wire act on the road to Bridgeton. The Bulldogs were ranked number 9 in South Jersey during the preseason, but had fallen on hard times. Hosting the Middle Township Panthers did not help matters. The Panthers were cruising to another easy victory late in the 3rd quarter when they went on a spectacular offensive run that those in attendance will not soon forget.
Well, I'm sailing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Original gangster.
The 6th week of the season featured 3 more wins, stretching the Panthers' win streak to 11 games. The highlight of the week was a non-league game against Ocean City, in which Lamar Greer scored a season-high 44 points. The second half of the season began with the much-anticipated rematch with St. Augustine. The game was a good barometer as to how much the Panthers had improved since the first game of the season. The Hermits did a good job containing Lamar Greer and Stefano Anderson, but Mike Bennett stepped up to score 19 points and lead a solid defensive effort.
Thing that sticks out in my mind when I played in St. Augie, and I had a lot of putbacks and scored. That was one of my best games this year. And I went after the ball like a killer. I was really ready during warm-ups. And coach said something to me. He said, "Are you ready?" And I just looked at him, and it's like, it's just something just snapped in me. I just went out there and played hard.
The 16-point win cemented Middle Township's spot at the top of the Cape Atlantic League's National Division and ensured them a spot in the Cape Atlantic League Championship game. The rematch with Pleasantville was not much closer than their first meeting, Middle Township winning 84-66 behind a season-high 38 points from Stefano Anderson. The offensive numbers continued to mount against Wildwood. For the third time, Middle Township scored 100 or more points. But even more memorable was the Panthers' performance in a record-setting first quarter. Next up for Middle Township was a tough road test against Eastern. The game was a showcase for Middle Township as many basketball people from the upper part of South Jersey came out to get their first glimpse of the third-ranked Panthers. They were not disappointed. Middle Township displayed its entire offensive package. Stefano Anderson's spectacular move to the basket, deft passing from Lamar Greer, outside shooting, transition, a memorable coast-to-coast dunk, and of course, the alley-oop. The rematch with Wildwood Catholic in North Wildwood would be the last Cape Atlantic League test for the Panthers before the CAL championship game. The Wildwood Catholic Gym is traditionally a tough place for Middle Township to play, and 1993 would be no exception. Middle Township jumped out quickly 20-10 in the first quarter. The Wildwood Catholic slowly climbed back into the game, eventually cutting the Panther lead to 35-34 at the half. When Scott Holden scored on this out-of-bounds play to start the third quarter, Middle Township trailed in the second half for the first time in many games.
Inside right now, Kyle.
Great individual effort from Lamar Greer, Stefano Anderson,
Oh, tough shot.
Beautiful shot thus far.
and Junie Shelton recaptured the lead for Middle Township 50-48 entering the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, Lamar Greer took over the game, scoring 16 of his 35 points in the quarter, and, as is becoming Middle Township's trademark, capped the game with an alley-oop dunk.
Looking for Lamar, alley-oop, jams it. And that's the explanation point on that one. Stefano Anderson jams it home from the feed from Lamar Greer. And that does it as Middle Township wins this one by a score of 71-63. Exciting conclusion to this one.
Entering the final week of the regular season, the Middle Township win streak stood at 20 games. Lopsided victories over Buna and Lower Cape May Regional concluded the second consecutive regular season in which Middle Township went 20-0 against Cape Atlantic League National Division teams. It also signaled to every team in Group 2 that Middle Township was playing its best basketball of the year. A big reason for the continuing success of the Middle Township basketball program is its coaching staff. Head coach Tom Ferracco and assistants Ree Thompson and Johnny Wise are not only knowledgeable, but have been working together for a number of years and have a system that enables them to communicate and lend support to the kids on and off the court. After the Buna game, Johnny Wise was honored for his 10 years of service to the Middle Township program, and as you can see, the best move on the court this night took place after the game.
Careful, girls, don't get too excited. It's old. Holding
The playoff season would open for Middle Township with the second installation of the Cape Atlantic League Championship game. The opposition would be against South Jersey Power Atlantic City. Ranked second in South Jersey and third in the state, Coach Joe Fussner's Vikings figured to handle the Panthers with relative ease. The critics figured that though the Panthers were good, they weren't that good. For the record, everyone would receive a wake-up call, and what followed would be one of the year's most exciting games. To stop the Vikings, the Panthers would need to contain a talent-laden squad led by 6'8" center Chris Nurse and star guard Mike Griffin. The Panthers had lost to the Vikings by 17 points in their first meeting 1 year ago. From the opening tap, the Panthers attacked the Vikings' man-to-man defense. Atlantic City got off to a shaky start as Chris Nurse scored the Vikings' first basket. 4 points by Creighton Williams put the Atlantic City Vikings in the lead 8-6 midway through the first period. Middle Township answered back with an alley-oop basket to tie the game at 8-8. The momentum then swung in the Panthers' favor with a block shot by Duncan McNeil.
See how packed they're in. They don't have anybody above the foul line. Lob into good block by Duncan McNeil and then deflected out of bounds. Atlantic City gets it back, but a message sent by Duncan McNeil that it's not going to be easy in there for him. Stefano kicks it back out to Judy Shelton for three, and he's got it. Michael Griffith takes to the basket, rebounded by Lamar Greer, and he leads the break. Middle Township's first look to run. Alley-oop jam! Yes. Middle Township still packed into that zone. Michael Griffith looks to go inside, deflected away by Bill Reese.
And so the first quarter ended with a score of Middle Township 13, Atlantic City 12. Now realizing that Middle Township had come to play, Marty Small scored the first basket of the second quarter for the Vikings. Atlantic City started executing their game plan and looked to utilize their strength inside. The strategy worked as Atlantic City enjoyed its largest lead at 22-17, causing a Middle Township timeout. The Panthers bounced back behind the play of Stefano Anderson, Lamar Greer, and Duncan, I'm playing both ends of the floor, McNeil. Lamar Greer's three-pointer put Middle Township ahead 29-25. Middle Township's defense also yielded problems for Joe Fussner's Vikings. The Panthers were playing well. And at the end of the half, despite their poor foul shooting, the Panthers led the favored Vikings 29-27. The third quarter started out with Lamar Greer scoring, giving the Panthers a 4-point lead. Unable to convert from the outside consistently, Marty Small went to work. But for every basket Small would make, Lamar Greer would answer the call, even when double-teamed and taunted. Atlantic City's inside game would give the Vikings a 4-point lead at the end of the third quarter, 48-44. The fourth quarter scoring started with a great move by Duncan McNeil. Atlantic City continued to pound the ball inside as even the fans became testy during the game. But every time the Vikings looked to pull away, the Panthers clawed back.
1-1. Shelton's back. Williams floating through the lane, rolls it in.
Well, pretty individual move that time. Didn't look to hit the man up ahead. Again, he kept it himself.
And they deny it away from Lamar Greer as they get it up to Judy Shelton. Finds Duncan McNeil.
Nice pass.
Two-step. He jams it. So Middle Township answers quickly.
Real good look that time by Duncan McNeil.
56-50, 4:42 remaining.
And although Marty Small continued to plague the Panthers, Middle Township would always fire back.
Inbound to Judy. Duncan McNeil drives. Hook shot good. Running one-hander. Thrown in by Duncan McNeil. Beautiful shot. Greer penetrates, shoots over Creighton Williams and banks it home. So Lamar Greer's first 2 points in the fourth quarter cut this to 2.
Set up again by Bill Reese, just playing some kind of physical game, and I just ripped that ball out of the Atlantic City player's hand.
Poor foul shooting plagued both teams down the stretch, but a late basket by Chris Nurse allowed the Vikings to escape with a 64-59 victory. The Panthers had played with the number 3 team in the state. It was a tough loss for Middle Township, but as in years past, a late season loss can build character. And unknown to the state of New Jersey, the Middle Township Panthers were ready to get busy. The Middle Township Panthers' first Group 2 South Jersey playoff matchup would be against the Salem Rams, a big team that was supposed to cause Middle Township some problems inside. The only problem that the Rams had, however, was their inability to stop a superior team as the Panthers overwhelmed a confused Salem squad. This was the game that Middle Township would show the form they would exhibit throughout the playoffs. In the semifinal round of the South Jersey Group 2 tournament, the Middle Township Panthers faced a tough Delran squad. From the opening tap, it was clear that the opposition would try to force the Panthers into a half-court game. After holding the ball for over a minute, it was evident that Middle Township would have to play tenacious defense in order to win. And the Big Four champs would also have to stop Delran's Ralph Sacca, a tough inside player. Duncan McNeil and Stefano Anderson provided most of the scoring in the first quarter, but 2 slam dunks were disallowed due to fouls. Delran trailed Middle Township 10-6 at the end of the first quarter. After an intentional foul early in the second period, Stefano Anderson scored often and at will. Middle rebounded from a slow and sluggish start as more players got involved in the offense that yielded a 29-16 lead at the end of the first half. In the second half, Middle Township scored early to push their lead to 44-25 midway into the third quarter. But just when the Panthers had started to take over the game, the Delran Bears started a furious 12-point run to close the gap to 9 points. The momentum had swung in the Bears' favor, but this advantage was short-lived as Stefano Anderson ended the drought at the end of the third period with a crucial basket. The Anderson bucket was all the Panthers needed, and despite tempers flaring late in the game, Bill Reese, Junie Shelton, Mike Bennett, and Duncan McNeil got involved in the offense, and Middle Township emerged victorious 65-44. The Middle Township Panthers reached, as expected, the South Jersey Group 2 final. Their opponents, the Sterling Silver Knights. The heavily favored Panthers were surprised early in the game as Sterling bolted out to an early 7-1 lead. Middle Township regrouped and with tenacious defense blew the game open. The game wasn't pretty. The game wasn't close. Middle 78, Sterling 41. And despite the large margin of victory, spirits were not high after the game.
Do you think we should celebrate?
Hey, it seems like we need to state this year, boy.
Well, it seems like, yeah.
But, last year,
no, because this is the thing, we've done it so much. Like Camden celebrated this year because they didn't get a chance to go this year. Well, listen, I don't mind. I go with your flow. If you want to party and jump up and down, and I'll watch and I'll enjoy it. If you want to stay like this, I don't like to see some faces that are down. I'm going to deal with that because I don't like that. Not now. Because when one guy puts his head down, another guy does, another guy, you're still South Jersey champs. You're still, hey, I'm telling you, they're a good team. You might not think it, but we beat a good team. They play good man-to-man defense, if you guys don't know it. It's a good test because St. Anthony's will play the same kind of defense if you get that at Hillside, but more pressure on the ball. and maybe not as good a help, but they played pretty good help defense. From the time it was 7-1 until the time the starters came out, it probably was a 40-point blowout. 40 points. And again, I reiterate, this team won 13 out of 14, beat Willingboro by 14. They were blowing people out, and you guys showed me a lot, and they have good shooters. When you turned it up on defense, you're a treat to watch. Let's have fun with that.
South Jersey now State.
Before Middle Township could set their sights on their old nemesis, the Panthers had to defeat a very talented Princeton Little Tiger team in the state semifinal game. Played at a quote-unquote neutral site in central Jersey, Middle Township had to battle a long bus ride in a hostile environment. Coach Doug Snyder's Princeton Little Tigers featured two 1,000-point scores in Bram Reynolds and Rodney Derry. This would be Middle Township's best game of the year and featured one of the most intense quarters of the season.
Got it. Nice in and out play for Stefano. Didn't connect. Then he finds Kirk Weber and he puts it up for Princeton's first basket. Cross court for Shelton for three. Got it. Into the corner for Anderson. Drive, pull up, jumper, no good. Almost tipped in by Reese. Bennett has it. Back shot up and good. Inside to Derry. He throws it up and in. So Princeton answers. Lamar Greer penetrates, pull up, jumper. Rolls in for him. Schrader penetrates, now finds Weber. They go back outside for Simmons. He drills the three. Bennett penetrates, he finds Anderson driving in, deflected away by Schrader, and an excellent defensive play. Once he gets to the apex of his jump. Greer from the corner, he's got it.
Well, they certainly have people that are capable of putting the ball in the basket from anywhere on the floor, including outside three-point land with Shelton and
Simmons
Greer.
Pull-up jumper. Loose ball picked up by Junie, throws it, tipped back up by Stefano Anderson. 40, James Ford, a 6'7" player for Princeton, checked into the ball game, so we'll keep our eye on him. Pull-up jumper by Graham Reynolds, and he knocks that down. That's 2 threes for him. So Middle gets it right back. Middle went after the big lead. Jam! Stefano Anderson on the...
What were we just talking about? Absolutely.
So a new wrinkle for Coach Tom Ferraco. Corner jumper answer for Princeton. Princeton's been doing a good job against Middle's press so far. Schrader flying to the basket. Up and in. Count the basket. Foul is on Middle Township. Middle Township hit him with a punch right out of the gates, and Princeton's answered that. A lot of teams don't even do that when Middle Township lands that first punch.
They certainly recovered well. Lamar Greer finds Billy Reese under the basket. Looks like Princeton's going to hold for that last shot right here. 9 seconds left in the quarter.
Pull-up jumper by Simmons. Just rolls out. Rebounded by Bennett. Tipped away by Derry. 2 seconds. 1. Jump shot at the buzzer goes for Rodney Derry. And a big play for the Princeton Tigers as Middle Township came out of the gate strong, and Princeton still leads it 24-21. 3-point advantage for the Little Tigers. We'll be back with the second quarter of action after this.
The second quarter proved to be as exciting as both teams stepped up their defense and executed on offense. The baskets drained in from the outside, they drained in from the inside. The game turned out to be very physical as both the Little Tigers and the Middle Township Panthers scratched and clawed at each other. No team could gain a decisive advantage until Bill Reese got involved in a shoving match late in the second quarter.
The hole for the last shot. They're trying to get it in. Tied up that time, and now taken away by Bill Reese, and Middle Township's going to get the last crack at it.
Could be a big swing here, a momentum builder right before the half.
21, Kirk Weber just threw Bill Reese to the hardwood. He picked up a personal foul for his trouble, his second.
That was a very obvious foul.
And there's a technical foul on Coach Doug Snyder. You were talking about a big swing a minute ago.
The technical foul proved to be the knockout punch. Just watch this execution.
Middletown's just going to get it again. 9 seconds remaining.
I like the way number 34 for Princeton plays defense.
Alley-oop jam! 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. Reynolds' shot comes too late. The alley-oop jam to end the first half with authority for Middle Township.
The Princeton Little Tigers never recovered from that knockout punch, and the Middle Township Panthers enjoyed complete domination in the second half. Middle Township showed its best form of the year, and the game especially had fond memories for Bill Reese. It was the realization that they would meet an old nemesis in the state final. But for Middle's 6'5" center, he would have other fond memories after this Stefano dunk.
Was stripped down the lane. Reese still fighting for the ball. Comes to Greer. He takes it all the way. Looks for Bennett, but he's fouled.
You can't pay enough money to get a player like Billy Reese.
The one game that really stuck out in my mind was the Princeton game, because before going in that game, I hurt my hip going in, and Barb Sinsheimer did a nice job of making a patch so when I banged, I wouldn't get hurt. And then the whole team that really wanted to get to the state title, that was the last step in achieving our goal. And I felt that I had to really step up that game and play as hard as I could. And we just played real well. And then what really topped the game off was when it was 54 seconds left in the game, and I dove on the floor, and we were up by about 24 points. The coach pulled me out and then yelled at me on the sideline for diving on the floor. I just, you know what I mean, it's something I've been doing all year, and the coach yelled at me, and I thought I was just doing my role, and I got benched for the rest of the game.
Final score, Middle 95, Princeton 74.
Give it up for Naughty by Nature.
The Middle Township Panthers have defeated their 4 opponents in the New Jersey Group 2 state tournament by an average of 29 points. The Panthers' 95-74 victory over Central Jersey champ Princeton earns Middle Township its 3rd berth in the state finals in the last 4 years. And for the 3rd time, their opponent will be the Hillside Comets.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This could be it. Ooh, it's very tempting for Johnny Holden. Donnie O'Neill. He's covered by number 20, Dwayne Arrington. Marcus Phillips' shot is good. A clutch shot for Marcus Phillips with 54 seconds on the clock.
The one player you really wouldn't think would take that shot in that situation is Phillips, and he buried it.
47 seconds. Middle Township up by 2. This is where the three-pointers can wreak havoc. Shot by Mazik is no good. There's a scramble underneath. Ends up in the hands. And a shot is hit by Ken Pierce. It's all tied up once again. We've got 30 seconds on the clock. It's going down to the final seconds here at Rutgers. Middle Township with 1 timeout remaining.
Now you definitely want one shot with about 4 or 5 seconds to go, so that if you do miss it, Hillside doesn't have time to go to length of the court.
Donnie
Then
O'Neill.
again, you have a chance to follow your miss. Clear it out.
It's under 10. Leahy with a shot. No good. Scramble underneath.
Uh-oh, we got an over the top.
Over the top on John Holden with 2 seconds on the clock. This could be it. Dave, this is a tough way to end a ball game.
Bill, you notice Hillside doesn't have anybody in there to make sure that they don't get an over the top. A lot of pressure on this young man.
hits it, puts Hillside up by a point.
I wish our camera would pick up the player face guard Leahy.
I believe that's Al Lynn. Okay, here we go. John Leahy. It's a desperation shot. It's no good. The game is over. Middle Township comes within 2 points of a state championship, 50-48.
That now gives the Panthers a 12-point lead, and you called it, Coach. Kendall Ogle is sitting on the bench. He needed a rest, and he got one. He's been replaced by Rashawn Barner.
Middle Township is liable to spread the floor out here and make Hillside. Elisano again.
Yes.
One more time. He's making it look awful easy out there, and the middle bench is enjoying this. I'm enjoying it myself.
John, Nick Elisano has 4 3-point goals today. Unbelievable.
Now the Hillside fans are on their feet, stomping and clapping. Well, we said they could cut it to 4. They just cut it to 3.
Glanton with a 3-pointer. It's 51-48 middle. Elisano loses the handle. Here's Arrington. Score it. It's a 1-point lead. Middle's lead was
Tommy
15.
Faracco wants a timeout right here. 15-1, the Panthers have been outscored in the first 5 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Middle with a chance to go ahead here with 46 seconds to go.
I think Coach Faracco is very content to be the last one to shoot the ball in this situation.
Anderson with the shot, doesn't get the roll, and Barner with the rebound. 33 seconds to go. Hillside can go ahead here.
The Coach Griffin puts up 4 fingers, 4 to score. They're going to hold the ball for the last shot themselves.
17 seconds remaining. Hillside looking to win it in overtime.
I think they want Arrington to be the one to penetrate. 10 seconds, here we go.
Here goes Arrington behind the back dribble. He's up with a shot and a foul with 6 seconds remaining on Junie Shelton.
Unlike the last time these two teams played, if he were to make 1 or 2 of these shots, Middle has more than enough time to get off a shot.
And he makes the first one. It's 61-60. 6 seconds remaining. Middle trails by 1. If he makes the second one, they'll trail by 2. Arrington taking plenty of time. Score it. It's a 2-point lead.
Here they go. Look for Charlie McNeil. Oh, it went out of bounds over his head. 2 seconds left.
Tommy says, don't give up, don't give up.
They want a foul right away. Long, it could be stolen by Elisano.
Stolen by Elisano to McNeil from 3-point.
Oh, my gosh. Off the rim.
And Middle cannot believe it. McNeil, he was right at the 3-point line. It probably would have been a 2, but it went off the rim, and Middle loses by 2 in overtime. Can you believe it?
Good afternoon and welcome to the Lewis Brown Athletic Center on the campus of Rutgers University in Piscataway, New Jersey. Today, TKR Cable Company and Channel 13 is proud to present the 1993 Group 2 State Championship game between the Big Four's own Middle Township Panthers and the Hillside Comets, North Jersey champion Hillside Comets.
The day after Thanksgiving is the first day high school basketball teams are allowed to practice. Since that day, the goal of the Middle Township Panthers was to win that elusive Group 2 state championship. With all the pressure of getting there behind them, the Panthers were free to play their best basketball when it mattered the most.
And we're underway. State Championship 1993. Lamar Greer tracks it down. Middle Township's going to get the first crack, and he finds Junie Shelton, and the Panthers are on the board.
Sweet look by Lamar.
Again, they try to go inside to King. Ogle picks it up, swatted away by Greer. He finds Anderson on the wing, pull-up jumper, got it. And Middle Township's off to a quick start. Greer penetrate, finds Junie Shelton for three.
We talked about that dribble penetration. One of the options was kicking to Junie Shelton for a three. Here's another break opportunity, and there's your foul. There's your third.
Beautiful job by Stefano Anderson. Exactly what he should have done the last time, as he took it. Gmo's been keeping his ground, but he went in there, and he's so quick once he gets off his feet and changing his body position. Drew that third foul, and that's going to be a big one as Gmo has to go to the bench now. Tipped loose by Junie Shelton, 2-on-1. Lamar Greer from Stefano Anderson, new wrinkle on that play, and Middle Township goes ahead 22-13, under a minute left in the first quarter.
This third contest between Hillside and Middle Township was not much of a contest at all. Middle Township dominated both ends of the floor for the entire game, and finally, it was the Panthers' turn in the spotlight. It was fitting that free throw shooting helped Middle Township build its huge first-half lead. The Panthers' free throw percentage in the postseason was over 70%, and it made it virtually impossible to come back on the Panthers. In the first half alone, Junie Shelton, Stefano Anderson, Mike Bennett, and Bill Reese all cashed in from the free throw line. The Panthers took a 33-19 lead to the locker room. When the third quarter began, Middle Township seemed intent on not only defeating Hillside, but demoralizing them as well.
Greer there, not going when his man crossed the lane, waiting for Gmo, and now they find Junie Shelton ahead of the field, so Middle Township answers quickly with a basket.
Here's Stefano on a breakout.
Quickly gets to the basket and answers for the Panthers. And they get it to Greer, splits the double team at the timeline and finds Bennett. Bank shot goes for Mike Bennett. Gets it back, Adams guarding him. Looked for the alley-oop, wasn't there. Reese pull-up jumper, got it.
Reese able to flash in the lane. Lamar finds him again for a short jump shot.
Pass deflected away. Stefano Anderson steals it, gets it to Shelton. He's going all the way, throws it up and in around Lamond Adams.
Looks like Middle's a team with the fresh legs, and Hillside wants a timeout.
Quick
The Panthers were relentless, outscoring the Comets 24-15 in the third quarter. The defining moment of the game came at the end of the third quarter, when Stefano Anderson dunked the basketball, and 3 years of frustration through the hoop just as the buzzer sounded.
8 seconds, 7 seconds. Lamar Greer handles. He's double teamed.
Nice pass.
Duncan McNeil throws up. Tip in jam by Stefano Anderson to end this third quarter. And Stefano's had a number of outstanding dunks in this season, but that may top them all.
I don't know if that tops them all. I've got a few of my own favorites. But you can see he was looking for the lob pass. That may have even been a lob pass from Duncan McNeil. Looked more pass than shot. But he was up at rim level to jam that down.
With the Panthers leading 57-34 and Hillside's spirit broken, the fourth quarter turned into an 8-minute countdown to Middle Township High School's first state championship in any team sport.
More time off the clock.
I'd agree with you, Kyle. It's not time to put this in the freezer yet. Still a long way to go.
Cross-court pass to Junie Shelton. He thinks about the three, decides not to pull the trigger.
It's a good decision.
Now double-teamed, finds Anderson, deflected. Now Greer takes it over. 4.5 minutes left. There's Reese in the lane. Bank shot is good.
Junie Shelton, strong take and a feed inside to Billy Reese.
Good possession by Middle Township that time. They took about 45 seconds off the clock and got a basket out of it. Offensive foul, and a beautiful jump out job by Bill Reese on that high screen. Did exactly what you want to do.
You know, at halftime, Tommy Fracco had a diagram what they were going to do on that, and he did it. Billy Reese did a great job. Heads up play again by Billy Reese.
As now the starters come out for Middle Township. 24, Junie Shelton goes to the bench. Billy Reese goes to the bench. Lamar Greer. Everyone but Stefano Anderson to the bench. Stefano Anderson goes to the free throw line. And you could just feel the relief from the Middle Township bench as they finally climb that mountaintop, Kevin. Ball game is over. The Middle Township Panthers from Cape May Courthouse are the 1993 Group 2 state champions, 81-59, as they soundly defeat a Hillside Comet team that has been their nemesis.
You'll never, ever, ever forget you'll never forget the moment you just did and the moment you just experienced for the rest of your lives. And you know what? For the rest of our lives, the whole area will talk about this team and this performance. We tied a school record. We can set a school record on Thursday. It's a great schedule now for us. Listen, we are good. We're good. I'm a negative guy usually. We're good. We're not happy. We're not happy to just get there. This team can win Thursday and play Saturday. It can. We're not going to be happy just to get there. But what a beautiful game for all the guys that wanted it so bad. But what a beautiful job by every guy in the program. If you didn't play, you still had to feel part of it. One time I remember when I was a sophomore in college, you know, yeah, you got a lot to come. A lot's coming your way now. We need to stay together. I want you guys to follow. You have a section where maybe we can get to. Follow Coach Thompson. Everybody sit in the same section. No fooling around. We stay together.
One thing, too, and I mentioned this yesterday, hey, you have to be grateful. I mean, the community is grateful for you to bring this home, but you have to be grateful for the community support. You saw the crowd out there, and Thursday night's going to be no different. They'll be here supporting you guys. So everybody you see that says congratulations, you say thank you very much for supporting. And that goes for the administration, these people out in this hallway here, and all the fans. But hey, like he says, you guys will remember this for the rest of your lives. I know I'm ready.
After defeating Perth Amboy Tech in the opening round of the Tournament of Champions, the Middle Township Panthers found themselves pitted against the number 2 seed Irvington Blue Knights, a team who exhibited frightening speed. This 10-player deep squad defeated State Power Shawnee to take the Group 4 state title. And without their senior guard, Junie Shelton, the Panthers were not picked to advance. But with the pressure of winning a state title finally off their shoulders, the Middle Township Panthers were about to find out just how good they could be. Mike Bennett was picked to start the game for Junie Shelton. Middle would face relentless pressure from a lightning-quick squad chock full of guards. In the first quarter, Lamar Greer and Stefano Anderson exhibited their usual skills, but the relentless pressure and quickness of the Blue Knights would yield an 18-17 Irvington lead. In the second quarter, things did not get much better for the Panthers. Despite an Irvington 20-8 run, Lamar and Stefano kept it close, but trailing 36-35 at the end of the half, Middle Township would need someone to take their game to the next level.
So once again, Brunson now just adding to his stats. So far, 8 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, and now we can chalk on 1 more steal.
Greer floats it in. Stefano for the jam. Alley-oop in traffic that time, converts for Middle Township.
And a roar, but Irvington right back.
Penetrates and finds Robinson for 3. No good. Rebounded by Greer. Long pass for Anderson. Saved in by Robinson. Stolen by Duncan McNeil. Dunked by Duncan McNeil. The nice steal in the open court. And then
the first 6 points of the third quarter allowed Middle Township to take the lead.
If I really look to see Lamar Greer become a little bit more involved in the offense.
Pull-up jumper over Saab, hits his first shot of the second half. Saab fires a jumper. No good, rebounded by Anderson. He looks to push it up. There's Greer in the open floor, shoots over Abdullah and hits it.
Great body.
Anderson looking to drive. Numbers were not there. He pulls it back out. Middle Township leads at 39-36, off quickly in the second half.
So it's sort of like been a game of streak so far. Each team taking a little turn to looks like they're going to try to start to dominate the game, but then the other team bounces right back. Good pass.
Paul Bennett is the open man, and he hits the layup. Double team goes Lamar Greer, and he found the open man.
It would take the help of Duncan McNeil, despite some creative play, to maintain the lead the rest of the way.
There they get it to Anderson. He's guarded by Solomon Abdullah. Finds Reese. He's looking for help. He finds it in Greer. Greer baseline jumper. No good. Tip jam by Duncan McNeil. Duncan McNeil getting a little extra elevation that time. Rams that one home.
And down the stretch, Middle Township continued excellent charity stripe shooting to upset the favored Blue Knights. They had come so far, exceeded so many expectations, and been through so much. The season had become a dream, a fantasy. Final score, Middle 66, Irvington 55.
That's going to put the seal of approval on that one as the Middle Township fans go crazy.
Somehow they always find a way to end a game like that when it's a big game.
Middle Township had taken the season as far as it can go, and that means a trip to the Brendan Byrne Arena in the Meadowlands. Their opponents were the St. Anthony Friars. The Friars were not only the #1 team in New Jersey, but the #4 ranked team in the country. In the opening minutes of the first quarter, the Panthers were holding their own against the national power.
You expect to see him with the ball all afternoon. Here's Reese, number 22. He looks inside. Greer to Reese. Breaks the seal.
And he's able to look over the defense to match up with Abdullah guarding him. He's got a good 3 to 4, maybe even 6 inches over him. He uses that size to see the floor.
Alim Abdullah for 3, and the point guard knocks it down to give the Friars a 3-2 lead.
So Moore, for his playmaking ability, steps up and knocks down the 3. Only at 28% on the season from behind the line.
Let's talk about Greer, a 6'5", 205-pound junior.
He's a terrific player. He's the full package, as we said in the open, averaging triple-doubles. He's that versatile of a player.
And St. Anthony playing man-to-man. Halim Abdullah at 5'7", 145. So he's giving away 10 inches.
Yeah, I started it at 2. I worked my way up to 6. Here's that pressure, as we mentioned. They're going to try and get up and force Lamar Greer to handle the ball against that pressure for 32 minutes.
Murray inside. Rashad McLeod.
Eventually, however, the Friars wore the Panthers down by running at every opportunity. The rigors of playing 4 games in 6 nights, 2 hours from home, obviously took its toll.
If you don't want to play man-to-man, you're afraid of your man, and you don't know basketball. That's as simple as that. If you can't handle your man, you tell me. I got to get somebody in there and split it at this point. And I don't want to embarrass this program. Down to 10. Let's go. We need a couple dunks. 1, 2, 3.
The Panthers had accomplished more in one season than any team in Cape Atlantic League history, and had nothing to be disappointed about. Coach Tom Ferracco and Stefano Anderson went to center court to accept a trophy that titled the Middle Township Panthers the 2nd best team in the state of New Jersey.
Go with it! Go with it! Jam! It ain't too much. It ain't too much. Ain't too much for me. Jam! It ain't too much. It ain't don't do. Ain't too much for me. Jam! It ain't too much. It ain't too much. Ain't too much for me. Jam! It ain't too much. It ain't don't do. Ain't too much for me.
Jam, here comes the man, hot damn. The B-boy stands with an upper hand. Music funky tracks with my man, Michael Jackson. A smooth criminal, half the man is Mike, so relax. Mingle, jingle in the jungle. Bum rush the door, 3 and 4's in a bundle. Execute the plan, first I cool it like a fine guy. But Janet, there a guy, now with Michael, cause it ain't hard to.
It ain't too much. It ain't too much. It ain't too much for me. It ain't too much. It ain't don't do. Ain't too much for me.
It ain't too hard for me to jam. 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 It ain't too hard for me to jam.
for Princeton.